Hi, grade two. In today's social lesson, we're going to be learning about our community a long time ago, okay, in the past. So to get us started, can you think about what you already know about our community in the present, so right now? So I have some pictures on the screen of Spruce Grove right now. So as you can see, there's a picture of City Hall, the little pond area, or not pond area, little water fountain area, the Tri Leisure Center, the wheat pole, and the welcome sign. Okay, you might be in a different community. You might be in Devon, you might be in Hinton or Westlock. So you might be thinking of different places in your community. But right now in Spruce Grove, this is kind of um, what I think of when I think of Spruce Grove. Okay. There's also another community that's super close to us called Edmonton, and I'm just gonna pull up the pictures of Edmonton that display what it looks like right now. So we have the beautiful bridge in River Valley, Rogers Place, West Edmonton Mall. Think of things that you, when you're in your community, think of things that you can see, what you can hear, what you can smell, and what do you think of when you think of these communities. So for me, when I think about Edmonton, I think about the Edmonton Oilers, West Edmonton Mall, the River Valley. When I think of Spruce Grove, I think of the Tri Leisure Center for sure, Jubilee Park, um, the Wheat Pool, all those kinds of things. So if you look here, these are pictures of Spruce Grove right now in the present time and Edmonton right now. What I want you to do with a grown up right now or someone who's helping you is I want you to make a prediction of what you think Spruce Grove or Edmonton or even your community that you're in right now, what do you think it looked like in the past, like long, long ago, before even your grandparents were alive? What do you think the community looked like? So you can pause this video right now and you can talk about it or even draw something, a picture showing what you think our communities look like a long time ago. Oh, okay. Now that you've talked about, this is another picture of Edmonton in the present. So we have the high level bridge, the river valley, some paved roads. The legislature building is in there. So this is another picture of Edmonton right now in the present. So here it is. What did your community look like long ago? What's your prediction? So looking at this picture, I couldn't really find a lot of pictures of Spruce Grove in the past, so we're going to stick with Edmonton because we are in like the Edmonton area. So this is what Edmonton looked like long, long ago um before European settlers came here and started to change everything, okay? And in the in the Cree language, Edmonton was called what you see on your screen. It's pronounced Amiskwachi Waskahegan, Beaver Hill House. That's what it translates to. So it's called Amiskwachi Waskahegan. That's what Edmonton used to be called in the Cree language. Why Cree? Well, now we're going to be learning about the original inhabitants of our community. So let's kind of break that down. What does original mean? Do you know what original means? I'm going to make this screen smaller and let's make up, or not make up, let's think of a definition. So when we're thinking about original, this means the first of something. Okay. So kind of means like the beginning. So when you think of original, you might think maybe an original painting. Okay. Like the very first one. So you see a famous painting called the Mona Lisa. Well, a lot of the times you see like different prints of it, but the original one is in Paris. There's also original things like the very original Edmonton Oilers. There was people who played on that at the very beginning. Um, when they started the Oilers. What else could you think of original? The very first original. Hmm. Well, I can think of one. There's a coffee house called Perks in Spruce Grove. Now the original Perks is right across from the Stu Barnes Arena, but now they're kind of expanding to different places. So that's what I kind of mean by original, the first of something. Okay. So original people are also referred to as indigenous people. You'll be hearing a lot about that, a lot about indigenous people. So, indigenous people have been here since time immemorial, which means they have always been in this place and they continue to live here to this day. There's a picture of some of the indigenous people. This word time immemorial, that's a new word for me too, but that just means they've always been here. Okay, and they still live here to this day. So when they were living here, when they first came here, this is what Edmonton was looking like. So what do you notice about this picture? There's a river, that's right. The steep river banks. There's the teepees. And remember this picture? So now that's like the exact same spot right now. So what's different? There's no buildings in the other one. There's no bridges or paved roads. Very different, right? Do you wonder anything about this picture? So I wonder who's living in these teepees. Do you have an idea of who might have lived in these teepees? Probably the indigenous people. You're right. Why do you think they chose to live in this place? Do you think they lived here all year round? What kind of culture or language do they have? So we're going to learn a little bit about that. So remember, the indigenous people were the original people to live here, and they still live here this day. So the original inhabitants of our community were indigenous groups such as the Cree, Dene, Blackfoot, Saulteaux, Nakota Sioux, and Métis are all the original inhabitants of this land that we now call Edmonton. Now, these same groups of people live in the Spruce Grove area as well. Edmonton and Spruce Grove and Stony Plain, they're all part of a land called Treaty 6 territory. So they all had the same types of groups living there. So descendants of these people still live here today. What are descendants? Well, descendants are people who are related to someone from an earlier time. So even though these people you see in the pictures right now, they probably all have passed away, but their descendants are still living on this land today. So let me tell you a little bit why indigenous people chose to live in this Edmonton and area land. So one of the main reasons they came to this land was because of the river. The river was very wide and shallow, which made the current of it slower. So crossing the river was easy for them. So they came because that river was a perfect place to cross. Or the river was a easy for to cross. There's also lots of animals in the area, like beavers and owls and deer and other resources in the area. And over time, they found out that Edmonton became a place where people could come to trade and meet other people. So let's go back and look at this picture one last time. So remember, this was Edmonton in the past, and this is Edmonton kind of right now, Edmonton and area right now. And remember what we call Edmonton in Cree? Let's try to say it together. Amisk Wachi, Amisk Wachi, Waska Hagan. Waska Hagan. Amiskwachi Waska Hagan. So this has been a gathering place for thousands of years. And remember, the original inhabitants of this land were the indigenous people. Our communities have come a long way, haven't they, grade twos? So now what you're going to do is you're going to go to onto the next slide and you're going to type out. I'm just going to pull it up here so you can see. You're going to type one reason why. Here we go. Oh, I don't think you can see it. But, anyways, you're going to go into the next slide and type one reason why the Edmonton and area was chosen as a place to live by the indigenous groups in this area. So, remember, I talked about it earlier in this video. Thanks for listening to this lesson.